Alright, I am back with a new build. This is my Frostbolt spell totems. So let me go over the gear. We do not use spirit to spawn our totems. I tried that out. I found out it was actually worse. The only thing it gives you is one more totem, and in return you lose a shitload of survivability, and it's just not worth it. You also lose some damage because you can't equip a focus, which is really annoying because you need a scepter to make it work. So with this build, we do utilize a couple of items. We utilize Red Fair Conduit, Snake Pit Pearl Ring, Defiance of Destiny, and Resonance. Resonance isn't an item, but you can get it as an item if you want to. You can get it on a Flesh Crucible. And then we also have a Heart of the Well. And of course, Malagaros, so that we can uh, put our critical damage bonus at 250%. And then we have a Rite of Passage, but that's not required at all. Neither is the Mage Blood. The Mage Blood isn't required either. The only things that are required are the Malagaros, the Red Flare Conduit, the Snake Pit Pearl Ring, and Resonance. You need to get Resonance in some form or another. And then you're going to want to get a good focus with +1 to maximum number of summoned spell totems, and then you want to get a good wand. Other than that, you just get life on your rares, and you cap out your resistances. Defiance of Destiny isn't absolutely required for this build, but Endurance is. So whatever amulet you're going to use, you're going to want to allocate Endurance as the Anoint. And that's about it for the gear. Now we'll go over the passives. Actually, so for the gear, for the Red Flare Conduit, you want to get one with gain a power charge every second if you haven't lost power charges recently. And that's about it. That's the only line you need on it that's mandatory. The rest can be whatever. For the Snake Pit Pearl Ring, you need one that does not have left ring slot uh, projectile spells fork. You do not want your spells to fork. You want them to. You want your frost bolts to explode upon impact. For the Mage Blood, it's just whatever. It's up to you. And then for Malagaros, again, it's just Malagaros. There's no specific version that you need. You just get the gloves and wear them. For Defiance of Destiny, if you're going to use Defiance of Destiny, make sure you get a good one. I can't stress this enough. You're not going to be tanky unless you get a good one. You need one with at least 35% of missing life before being hit by an enemy recovered. And again, I'm going to say this one more time. Spell skills have +1 to maximum number of summoned totems. It's huge. You definitely want that. Otherwise, you're only going to be able to have 2 totems, I believe. With this, that way you can have 3. Again, for the rares, you just want to cap your reses and get as much life as possible. For the wand, you want to get one with cold spell skills, extra damage is cold, spell damage, and critical hit chance. And if you can, get some more extra damage on it. Okay, now that's it for the gear. For the passives, we get all this spell damage here. We get jagged shards for the increased critical hit chance for spells. But if I'm being completely honest, you probably don't need any of these nodes right here. All these nodes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, you do need this one down here, but these 9 and this one, you probably could just get these 4, and then your raw destruction and practice science and cast speed, and then you'd be fine. You probably don't need all these except for these 3 and raw destruction. For the rest of the tree, though, you want to get critical hit chance over here, these 2, critical overload. You want to get potent incantation. You want to get breath of ice. You want to get hastening barrier. You want to get spiral into mania, sudden escalation, ruin, spell damage and cast speed, glaciation, endless blizzard, cold damage, cold damage, cold damage, cold damage, and some cold pen. Ingenuity, controlling magic, careful assassin, cold damage, cast speed with cold skills, and cold damage. Then you want to come back down here, you want to loop all the way over to resonance. While you're looping over the resonance, you want to get critical exploit, moment of truth, spell haste, true strike, and critical hit chance. For the jewel sockets, you want a Heart of the Well. You want one with any extra damage, as much as you can possibly get. And the 2% damage is taken from mana before life is huge. Doesn't sound that crazy, but it actually is. I already mentioned Ruin. For the next 2 jewel sockets, you want to get 2 Grand Spectrum Rubies because we're life stacking. Unfortunately, we do not have that much life because my gear is not as good as it could be. Since we're playing Lich, you want to get Blackened Heart, Soulless Form, and then you want to get Energy Shield and the Crystalline Phylactery. For the Jewel, you want cold damage, spell damage, and cast speed. Damage taken and recouped his life is completely unnecessary. I just got this because it was nice and cheap. You want to get the bare minimum intelligence, and then you just want to put the rest of your stat nodes into strength. No dex. Do not get any dex. At level 91, you should have enough dex to equip uh, any dex gear that you might need because you're looking for life and resistances. You're not looking for energy shield. So in terms of gear, it doesn't really matter what you equip. Whether it has armor, evasion rating, energy shield, runic ward, it does not matter. As long as it has life and resistances, you're good. And your third stat that you want to stack is mana, but it's kind of hard to stack mana. That's going to be pretty expensive to get resistances, life, and mana on all your gear, and all your rares. So I say just focus on resistances and life and resistances. For the skills, we have Spell Totem with Frostbolt, Blasphemy with Elemental Weakness, and for the supports on Spell Totem with Frostbolt, we have Urgent Totems 3, Rapid Casting 2, Concentrated Area, Pinpoint Critical, and for Blasphemy with Elemental Weakness, we have Magnified Area 2, Hidden Curse, and Cold Mastery. Cold Mastery is completely optional, you don't really need it. So I just put it there because we had a 4-socket. And that is it for the gear and the tree and the path and the skills. Now you're probably wondering, why don't we use common? it would free up an extra ring slot, and wouldn't it do more damage? The answer is no. The reason Comet doesn't do as much damage as Frostbolt is because Comet does not have a fast enough cast time. And usually your totems might even die before they ever even cast a Comet, which is really annoying. So I don't recommend you go with Comet for this type of build. But you could, if you really want to play Comet with spell totems, you could, you can. It's just not going to be as good. It will definitely free up a ring slot, though. You won't need Snake Pit Pearl Ring. Alright, so now I'm going to show some gameplay. I'm just going to do an ultimatum, because that's how I usually farm currency. The build guide is essentially done. The rest is just going to be me doing an ultimatum. As a showcase to give you an idea of how fast the build is. Now, your end goal is definitely to try and reach 3,000 life. That's your end goal. That is 100% going to be your end goal if you decide to try and play this build. Reach 3,000 life. That is going to be your tankiness breakpoint, essentially. Very fast. Tankiness is not quite as good as I'd want it to be. Like I said, you should try and reach 3,000 life. But it's fine. As long as you don't get hit, you'll be fine. So the reason you want that corrupt on the ring is because if you don't have it, your projectiles will more often than not just pass through the enemy instead of exploding. And you don't want that to happen. You want the instantaneous explosion when it collides with the enemy, so that we can get that sweet 30,000 damage. It says 70k, 80k, but that's not true. It's per hit, it's around 30 to 40k. It just says that because the totems cast so fast. It's counting the multiple projectiles we're able to obtain. Cast speed, but I don't count that. Now with Spirit, you're probably like, how would Spirit not be better? You get double the totems. You actually only get one more totem. You only get 4 instead of 3. Which is completely stupid. And it makes using Ancestral Bonds and Spirit instead of Endurance Charges completely useless and pointless. So don't do it. I'm telling you right now, do not do it. You will get better damage and faster cast speed without doing that. And you won't have to worry about losing a whole bunch of survivability for equipping gear that has Spirit. Of course, if you go Energy Shield, then everything I just said is kind of pointless. If you go energy shield instead of life, you should be fine with spirit and ancestral bond. You'll probably be a lot tanky. Well, not probably. You will be a lot tankier. But the price point that you're looking at for that is going to be insane. So I don't recommend it. But you could go that route if you have the currency to do that. I say go for it. Fuck it. Go for that 10k energy shield, you know, and that those 4 totems. Why not? Shit. I gotta plug in my controller ASAP. But I don't have the currency for it personally. I have a Mage Blood, but I still don't have the currency for it. So we're talking like maybe 400, 500 divine to put it together. The energy shield variant. Then at that point, you probably are better off using Comet as well. Because fuck it, right? You're gonna be spending 500 divine on a build like that. This build guide is meant to be cheap, inexpensive, and easy to put together. This version of spell totems, and it's meant to be very effective at the same time while doing all those. So you're probably wondering how many divines does this make? Well, it depends. If you're farming for the Adorned, you have the potential to make a shitload of currency. If you're only farming for the Fates, like I do, then it's 7 divine a run. But here's the damage. Easy. Easy damage. Easy cast speed. Survivability, like I said, I'll say it again, is not quite where I'd like it to be, but that's fine. We got the damage. Just don't get hit. Until you get 3,000 life. Once you get 3,000 life, you should be pretty tanky. You should be tanky enough to not get one shot and tank most hits, for the most part. If you get 3,500 life, that's even better. You're looking for at least 3,000 though. Again, like I said, I just don't have the currency for the gear to get that right now, but you can definitely achieve that with this build. I personally just don't have the gear or the currency. So the reasons I would recommend this build are because it's cheap, easy to put together, and that's about it. As you can see, we kill everything relatively instantly. We don't have trouble killing anything at all. Bosses, pinnacles, you should be fine. And then when you get 3,000 life, you'll also be tanky enough. I can't stress enough, though, you need a good Defiance of Destiny. It needs to be a good one. 35% or higher for the bottom stat. For the recover life on hit. Hit taken. If you don't get a good one, you will notice it. You will notice that you're not tanky enough, even with 3,000 life. So get a good one. To show you how tanky we are even now, I'll take the fire, and when we get hit, you'll just see that we don't lose much life. What the fuck is this guy doing? Please do not do the tornado thing. That's what I don't want you to do. There we go. Okay, so I was kind of wrong, actually. We did take a good amount of damage from the fire, but we didn't die. But we did actually take a good amount of damage, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think it would deal that much to us with Defiance of Destiny, especially with the one we have. And remember, allocate Anoint Endurance. Anoint Endurance. If you do not anoint Endurance, you will not be able to cast spell totems as often as I'm doing now. You will be hard stuck on 3 endurance charges, and that is not good. You do not want that. Another thing you can do on the high end is cap your chaos resistance, but you shouldn't have to worry about chaos damage when you have 3,000 life and Defiance of Destiny. You should be fine. Like, even when you take chaos damage, it shouldn't one-shot you or kill you. As long as you have that 3,000 life and Defiance of Destiny. Yeah, we gotta take this one, unfortunately. We get through the rooms pretty quickly, so we should be fine. The only real reasons to use a Mage Blood is if you have Diamond, Legacy of Diamond, and Legacy of Silver. Those are the 2 that are going to help you a lot. Because Legacy of Silver is going to give you a shitload of cast speed, and Legacy of Diamond is going to give you a shitload of crit chance. So the crit chance that you get from Legacy of Diamond is going to be able to pretty much carry your crit chance. You're going to be able to lose pinpoint critical. You're probably going to be able to lose a lot of critical hit chance nodes on the tree. You might even be able to lose Malagaros and get a whole bunch of crit damage, and then get a whole bunch of damage out of it. So if you're trying to go on the really high end, I say get a Mage Blood with 2 diamond. Do the exact same build. The only difference is get a Mage Blood with 2 diamond, and try and see if you can lose Malagaros and get a whole bunch of crit damage. Test it out, and then tell me if it works. Because if it does, that'll be insane. Like, your damage will probably be astronomical. It'll be fucking crazy. But as is, you should be fine. I mean, I'm showing you that you'll be fine. As you can see, I'm doing enough damage. I will not lie. I don't feel confident getting hit with 2,500 life in the Defiance of Destiny. So really try and get that 3,000 life. With that 3,000 life, I guarantee you will be tanky with the Defiance of Destiny. I guarantee you, 100%. This guy takes a little because he has like a lot of AoEs. I might die here. Okay, no, we're good. I froze him before he could hit the ground. If he hit the ground, I might have died, to be honest. This probably does not. Well, I don't know. I would have to try it out, but I was gonna say that this build will probably struggle with like juiced expeditions and shit. But like juiced breaches, I've done juiced breaches with this build, so those will be fine because you don't have to like get close to where the rares are to kill them. This build on juiced breaches. So there you go, 7 divine in 26 minutes. Pretty easy. So every hour you're basically getting 14, 14 divine around every hour with this build, which is not bad. All right, that's it for the build guide. If you liked it, give the video a like, maybe. I don't know. If you want to comment, comment. Uh, I will say again, you could definitely do better than this with Energy Shield and Spirit, but it's going to be very expensive. Very expensive. But, I mean, if you're someone who has, like, you know, like 500 divines sitting around, I say go for it. Try it out. Try out an Energy Shield version with Spirit. If you're someone who's, you know, doesn't have that many divines, like without the bell, this is like shit. At the low end, you can get one of these for like 1 div. I'll prove it. Yep. So like 1 div for one of these. It's not gonna have as many sockets as the one I have, but you don't really need all the sockets. You know, it's whatever. For one of these, it's about 1 div, 1 to 2 div. For the Malagaros, it's like exalts. It's not even a div. For this, so again, it's literally like maybe 1 divine. For something like this, maybe 1 to 2 divine. So you're looking at around like 10 div without the mage blood. And then you put on the mage blood, and it's like, and then obviously, you know, obviously mage blood's like 300 div right now, give or take a few, you know, divines. So yeah, give it a shot. I say, if you have a couple divines laying around, you want to try Frostbolt spell totems. Oh, and like I said, you don't need the rite of passage. That's 8 divine right there. You don't need that. The wand was like 1 div. So for like all the mandatory gear, you're looking at around 11 divine. You could do a lot worse for 11 Divine. Alright, that's the end of the build guide. See ya.